Something big just happened. China, the world's largest buyer of American agricultural goods, has officially suspended all U.S. farm trade. This isn't a small policy change. It's a major geopolitical statement, one that could reshape global markets for years to come. The decision has left American farmers in shock, traders confused, and policymakers scrambling for answers. And the question everyone is asking is simple. Have Trump's tariffs finally backfired? To understand what's happening today, we need to go back to where it all started. In 2018, former U.S. President Donald Trump launched what became known as the U.S.-China trade war. His administration accused Beijing of unfair trade practices, currency manipulation, and intellectual property theft. As part of his America First policy, Trump imposed billions of dollars in tariffs on Chinese imports, everything from electronics and steel to machinery and textiles. The strategy was meant to pressure China into signing a new deal that favored the United States. But China didn't fold. Instead, it retaliated, targeting one of America's most sensitive economic sectors, agriculture. For decades, China had been the top buyer of U.S. soybeans, corn, pork, and wheat. In many years, more than half of all American soybean exports went straight to China. That trade wasn't just business. It was survival for millions of farmers across the Midwest. When Beijing struck back, it cut off purchases of key U.S. farm products and turned to new partners like Brazil, Argentina, and Russia. The U.S. government tried to cushion the blow with subsidies and bailouts, but those payments couldn't replace real long-term demand. Farmers watched prices collapse, storage silos overflow, and their debt pile up. At the time, the White House promised that this pain was temporary, that a better trade deal would come soon. But years later, it's clear. The pain didn't go away, it only deepened. Now China has gone one step further. A complete suspension of all U.S. farm trade. No soybeans, no corn, no wheat, no pork, nothing. According to Chinese officials, this move is a response to Washington's ongoing tariffs, sanctions on Chinese tech firms, and political pressure in the South China Sea. But behind the headlines, this isn't just about economics, it's about power and independence. China wants to prove that it can feed its people without relying on America. And right now, it's proving exactly that. Beijing has built massive new partnerships around the world. Brazil now supplies record amounts of soybeans to China. Russia provides grain and fertilizers. Argentina has signed long-term agricultural contracts. Even African nations are receiving Chinese investment in farmland and infrastructure, ensuring a steady flow of food and raw materials to Asia. In short, China isn't just reacting, it's replacing America. And that's what makes this moment so historic. The United States spent decades building its agricultural dominance. Its products fed the world, powered by vast farmland, modern technology, and global shipping routes. But that dominance relied heavily on demand from China. Now that the door to that market is closed, American farmers face a harsh new reality. Grain silos are full, exports are down, equipment sales are slowing, and for many farmers, profit margins have vanished. Government aid might keep some afloat for a while, but it won't fix the long-term problem. Because without China's buying power, there simply isn't enough demand to absorb America's surplus crops. That's why experts are warning of a new farm crisis, one that could rival the collapse of the 1980s when thousands of family farms went bankrupt. Meanwhile, China is moving full speed ahead. And here's the twist. Many of its new trade deals are being settled in yuan, not US dollars. That's a subtle but powerful shift that could undermine the global role of the dollar over time. If major economies start trading outside the U.S. financial system, it weakens one of America's biggest advantages: control over global currency flow. For U.S. policymakers, this is a wake-up call. The trade war that was supposed to make America stronger might actually be accelerating the rise of its biggest rival. Trump's tariffs were designed to bring jobs back, reduce the trade deficit, and stop China's technological expansion. But instead, they've pushed China to become more self-sufficient, more connected to new partners, and more determined to lead global trade on its own terms. And while America debates its next move, China is already executing its plan, a plan that reduces dependence on the West and builds new power structures across Asia, Africa, and South America. The consequences for U.S. farmers are immediate and painful. Many now face the possibility of cutting production, selling land, or taking on more debt. Some are turning to local markets and alternative crops, but those efforts can't replace billions of dollars in lost exports. Rural communities that depend on agriculture are feeling the pressure too. When farmers struggle, so do local businesses, equipment dealers, truck drivers, repair shops, and small-town stores. This isn't just about crops and tariffs anymore, it's about the livelihoods of entire regions. And as frustration grows, political tensions are rising again in Washington. Lawmakers from farming states are demanding urgent solutions, while others argue that America must stand firm against China's growing power. Either way, the cost of this standoff is becoming impossible to ignore. Around the world, analysts say this is more than just a trade dispute. It's part of a larger global realignment, where countries are rethinking who they trade with, who they depend on, and which currencies they trust. And in that realignment, China's latest move sends a very clear message. It no longer needs to play by America's rules. Trump's tariffs were meant to defend American strength. But today, as China suspends all U.S. farm trade, it's becoming clear that the strategy may have backfired. The world is changing fast, and for the first time in decades, America isn't setting the pace. So the question remains, can the U.S. adapt to a world where China is writing more of the rules? Or has the trade war that began as a show of strength become the spark that accelerates America's decline in global influence? One thing is certain, this story is far from over. The next chapter of the global economy is already being written, and this time, it may not be written in Washington, but in Beijing. If you found this video informative, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more deep analysis on global politics, economics, and power shifts shaping our world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.